Welcome back to the Great Sleigh Ride. Again, probably should be spelled S-L-A-Y, and we'll hope that that holds up here. At the end of the last episode, I actually was about to end my turn, and I was deep in territory towards Astragoth's army, and they did attack me on the turn in, and I fought that battle, and I will let you see how that battle turned out. The AI seemed to think that I was most certainly going to lose. There is 2 units of Infernal Guard. I think one's an Infernal Ironsworn, and then they also have a Fireglaive unit and 5 or 6 Blunderbuss units, as well as Astragoth. There is a Great Taurus, I believe. Yeah, a Great Taurus and a Lamassu, so they've got a couple of flying units. My army, I did have 3 Zargards with great weapons, so I do have some very powerful anti-infantry capability. However, I mostly just have the Cassars with great weapons. But they do have their pistols, which can cause a lot of damage as well, especially to lower armored units or unshielded units. And I am going to use my light war sleds, along with Mother Ostankia, to really harass the enemy formation. Mother Ostankia is very effective against infantry formations, but she can die pretty quickly in the wrong situation just because of the amount of damage that the Chaos Dwarfs can put out. Now, I do have 4 units of standard Cassars with bows, and I'm using them along with my pistol units and the bear sledge. You can see we lured in that Lamassu and absolutely destroyed it. The Great Taurus decided maybe it shouldn't be flying straight towards my gun line, but I'm going to go convince it that it should be. You're going to see me send my bear sleds that direction and target it, and again, try to annoy it. And I'm going to stay out of range of those Hobgoblin Wolf Riders. And then meanwhile, you can see me kind of launching Mother Ostankia's missile attacks at the most valuable infantry units that they have. So that's going to be this Infernal Guard, and then I think an Infernal Ironsworn here, which those guys are really dangerous because they have the blasting charges. And then we're going to see Astragoth here, and then a huge line of blunderbusses. So again, the amount of damage per second that his army can put out under good circumstances is really quite frightening. Now, I wanted to slow them down and do extra damage, so I've used the Fell Fins, I believe is the name of the spell here from the Lore of the Hag. I only have that and the Witch Brew available, and I actually kind of just missed my target with the Witch Brew. To be fair, though, Witch Brew is not going to do a lot because of the... It's not really an armor-piercing spell here. But in any case, you can see me slowing their advance, making life miserable for them while I continue to pour in fire. And as their troops get closer, they're going to come into range of the pistols of my armored Cassars. And you can see these green-skinned slaves here not doing so well coming in first. But then we're going to have the Dwarf Warriors. These are Chaos Dwarf Warriors with great weapons. They don't have shields, and so they will be quite susceptible to my missile fire, albeit their armor will help a little bit. Now, Astragoth gets into fighting, and he's dropping his magic everywhere. He's going to be tough to kill. But Astragoth isn't my number 1 priority here. My number 1 priority is the Infernal Ironsworn and his... I appreciate that bull giving me a little bit of an extra push there as well. This Infernal Ironsworn will cause a lot of damage, as will their blunderbusses, so I'm going to sit here and basically play ping-pong with my sleds, and I'm just going to bounce around on top of their expensive units that deal all the damage. So you can see my sleds crashed into a big ball of their units, and then we're going to crash into another blunderbuss unit, and then I'm going to go out here and hit the Fireglaives, and we're just going to consistently bounce around and basically disrupt all of the capability of the damage-dealing component. There I used a Blizzard against a big blob, and it's going to end up being very effective. You can see many Chaos Dwarf dying in the giant tornadic blizzard there. And then we're going to be running over these Fireglaives. Now, Fireglaives do have a small bonus versus large, but they're not going to be able to handle, 4 or 5 sleds running over their face. Meanwhile, my Zargard combined with the great weapon Cassars, even with the support of Astragoth, they're able to hold the line here. And then out on my flank, there was a Centaur Render and some blunderbusses trying to fight their way through my Kislevite warriors, and these guys have been amazingly stubborn and holding their ground despite not being great units. They've done a tremendous job. That's the By Our Blood ability that comes with Kislev. Again, you can see here a lot of magic coming through from Astragoth, but at this point, the blunderbuss units and the Infernal Ironsworn have been able to accomplish near nothing. And you can see a lot of them routing, so I've basically taken away all their abilities, and then what infantry of theirs did make it to my main line is being beaten back The armored Cassars with great weapons were holding the front line, and then I backed them up with the Tsar Guard. So the Tsar Guard came in fresh and didn't get countercharged, and they are causing tremendous damage. You see there, we threw up the fins again. That was mostly me trying to hold Astragoth in position while I hit him with bow fire, and we sure enough caused a chain rout. At this point, his entire army, himself included, is fleeing. So his little mech warrior dreams didn't come to fruition here. And despite what the AI said, they ended up taking a massive loss here. And their forces are going to be driven from the battlefield and slaughtered for their trouble. You can see there was a pretty gruesome battle here. A lot of bodies on the battlefield. Fortunately for me, many of those, and most of them, I would say, probably belong to the Chaos Dwarves. But we did take some losses in the process. I'll probably use the after battle, like replenish losses thing, because we are in unfriendly territory. I was in a encamped stance though, so we are going to be able to recuperate some of that. I am going to make sure that Astragoth leaves this battle injured, and here he is trying to get away, but he's going to take many gunshot wounds, and he will indeed receive the wounds that he so much deserves. And then I'm going to run down as many of his troops as I can in an attempt to just make sure that his army is in an extremely weakened state, so that if I can replenish relatively quickly, that will get back in and destroy his settlement, thus taking away his ability to wage war. So I will see you back on the campaign map. Hope you enjoyed a little bit of cinematic action here to get things started. All right, during that turn end, the Chaos Dwarves also sacked my settlement at Fort Doors, Fort or whatever this one is, but I mean, big deal. That's minimal damage. And then it left my army in this position here, where they did get some pretty good replenishment. We didn't actually lose any units. Astragoth's army was driven back with extreme losses, and they're actually back past their main settlement. And when I look at their settlement, its garrison is not that significant, and they were busy fighting off the Norscan factions up here as well. So I think we've kind of caught him in a vice, fortunately for us, and I do believe that if I leave this encamped stance, I can probably capture his territory here. It says we're going to take egregious losses. I don't really understand why that is. It's got to be the towers or the walls, so I'll build some siege equipment, and I'm going to continue the siege here. A little bit risky because we have some damage to our army, but I don't think that the Chaos Dwarves have a serious force ready to strike back against me. They only have this one other settlement over here, and they will probably take some of this stuff from me over the next few turns, but I'm basically counting on the fact that we can come in here and try and clean this up, essentially. I honestly don't want to hold a ton of territory over here. I would rather someone else hold it, and when I'm looking at resources, there is some iron, but honestly not a whole lot over here that's going to be worth messing with. I have to deal with the unpleasant climate, which will make control a little bit worse. It's going to make constructing all of our buildings considerably more difficult, but it also takes away income, which kind of sucks. So I don't know. I'm going to think about that and decide what we do. In the meantime, N'Kari was afraid to siege Prague. I guess he saw what happened to his Wintertooth brethren and decided maybe he doesn't want to go down in such a manner. But that also means that replenishment continued for Boris, so his army is now in excellent fighting condition, himself included. And then the garrison is even recovering here as well. And remember, we have a very sturdy garrison here. And if he delays for another turn, then Tsarina Katarin is going to be able to reinforce, now wielding what's going to be 5 Ice Guard, a little Grom, and she's going to have an additional sled, but it's going to be a heavy sled. So we're going to be starting to realize the true destructive nature of Tsarina Katarin's final form here, which is ice and sleds. Basically the Death Star of the Warhammer Old World, so should be quite a lot of fun here. So I'm gonna try and take a look through some of the things we need to do. Let's first take a look at our fellow humans here and their fight against the undead. It does look like Tzeentch is now down here kind of tainting the lands, and the Greenskins made a little bit of an inroad here. This is actually really frustrating that they're making an inroad here at Grinzat against Balthasar. So Balthasar needs to get his crap together and go take these Greenskins out. I'm going to try and order them down here. It may not let me. Attack target. Target is not a shared. How are they not at war with the Greenskins? I wonder if Tzeentch gave the Greenskins that settlement.
Friendship is more valuable than gold.
Let's look at the join war situation. We could join against the Disciples of the Maw and then try and get them to join against the Bloody Hands. No, they're not interested. Who are the Bloody Hands fighting against? Let me go look at them. I wonder if the Bloody Hands are stupid enough to take a peace treaty. Nope. They're Greenskins. I wouldn't expect them to want a peace treaty. They're currently fighting against Koron, Dwarves, Empire, and me. For whatever reason, Balthasar has not joined that. I guess because he's not in a defensive alliance with Franz. The Dwarves have done okay, I guess, but it certainly makes me wonder, like, how did you let a Greenskin army walk through, like, past Varunka Hills, past Akendorf, past Karag Gromor, like all the way over to here? That's really frustrating, unless Tzeentch just gave them that territory, which may very well have been the case, because I think he can pull those kind of shenanigans. So the only reason I say this is frustrating is because it would be handy to have an army in this vicinity. Number one, to kill the Changeling and be done with his filth. But then be able to stop them. Like, I don't want them coming into Sylvania and disrupting what is honestly some pretty lucrative settlements that I have back here. Swartzhofen is going to be difficult to defend. I may begin the upgrade process there, and then upgrade Eschen as well. And then we'll have to look at upgrading Fort Obersteyr and Castle Tempelhof, just to make sure we can hold back any potential Greenskin incursions here until we're able to get an army in the vicinity. Let's see, we have some skill points. These are going to go to Mother Ostankya. And when I look at her Frost Maiden, we need all the capability we can get out of her. Blizzard was extremely handy. I think I'm going to go ahead and upgrade Blizzard so that we can use that. It was devastating to that Chaos Dwarf infantry blob. So that was definitely a worthwhile. And we definitely need to be replenishing quickly in enemy territory here. So I'm going to actually go ahead and finish off this logistician. Plus, we're in an unpleasant climate and we need to overcome the penalties to replenishment. And then we can get a replenish here as well. So that'll make the replenishment even faster. Replenishment is, in my opinion, an extremely important stat that you want to buff up. The quicker you replenish, the harder it is for enemy forces to get the better of you. So something I feel like you should spend a lot of time on. We can unlock Salyuk's Lullaby here. We do not have a warhorse or a bear yet, which would certainly be handy, but at least that Patriarch can now dish out some heals in that army. And we will continue that siege. Otherwise, we have an Ataman event here. We can get extra control for that, or we can get better. Let's go ahead and do the research rate. That'll pay off quite a bit over the long haul. And then we can get out of here. And there's going to say buildings available, but I'm actually going to save a little bit of my cash here. We're about to finish this this building too. That'll be useful, which is going to unlock Warbear Riders. And we need to get Boris a Warbear Rider army because he gets significant bonuses to those. I'm going to rebuild that just to irritate the Chaos Dwarves, and I'm going to skip the outpost. Let's end our turn and see what happens here. But I'm feeling pretty good at the moment about our situation. Oh, look at this. He doubled back, and he's going to attack us. But this means they're sallying out onto open ground again, and we just defeated a better army than this on open ground, so the AI is not really calculating this properly, so let's go fight this. The AI has a lot of reinforcements coming. Their reinforcements are going to be significantly delayed, almost 3 minutes into the battle, and one of them has to come from clear across the map. Now, their more numerous reinforcements are going to be coming in closer to them, but I can cover ground quickly with the sleds, and you can see here that it's still going to be 2 minutes of time for me to come up here and start shooting these renders. I'm actually going to turn off Mother Ostankya's Fire at Will for the moment, because it's not very effective against anything other than infantry blobs, at least in my experience. If I'm wrong, you all feel free to correct me, but I find it most useful against densely packed infantry. We're going to get hit by a fireball. Oh no, it hit the ground. Sweet. So I want to get rid of that Bull Centaur render with dual axes. That's a very capable anti-infantry unit. They do have a Hobgoblin Wolf Rider. I don't think the Hobgoblins are going to do a whole lot of damage against my sleds. Now, Mother Ostankya is fairly, well, I say she's fairly low armor. She's up to 62. Any lower armor than that, I would be a little more concerned about the Wolf Raiders. Alright, so I've got the sleds doing their thing, opening fire. I think the fireball may have hit their own guys that second time. I could be wrong. Yeah, we're going to kill as many of these dual axe renders. They are anti-infantry, anti-armor, very dangerous units, and we've used them to great effect in our own campaign. I'm going to go ahead and use this because I think it has unlimited uses. We might as well heal up Mother Ostanky just a little bit. They are really ripping the fireballs out here, which I guess makes sense. That's a sorcerer prophet of fire, so fireball's a cheap spell with a pretty slow, or sorry, a pretty rapid cooldown, I should say. And I see the other reinforcements have to come from all the way across the map. My infantry is very nearly in position. I'm going to keep pushing it, and these renders have been rendered nearly obsolete before the battle even starts. And then his magic is being spent, and I don't know if he has any better magic, but he's just blowing it all on fireballs here. So I think that's actually fine for me as well. Yeah, look at those renders down to only 3 entities, 700 hit points. I'm going to start picking at those blunderbusses, or possibly the fire prophet here as well. Alright, the renders are down to a single entity, and they're dead. This is going to put the rest of their forces in a very bad position. In fact, I'm going to take all of Group 2. I'm going to turn Mother Ostanky's Fire at Will on now, and I'm just going to bull rush their reinforcements and pin them down, and then see if we can bring our own troops in right on top of them. So I'm going to just kind of charge on in here. It's probably a little bit risky to be doing this, but I can also set up a brutal blizzard spell right here. And then I can take Group 2 and kind of force them onwards while that blizzard just decimates. Yeah, look at that. That's going to absolutely decimate the gas dwarves right there. That is amazing. So the bear baiting, sled crashing going on here. I'm going to dump a witch brew through that big blob as well. Pop those abilities. Our pistols are now inside of range. Oh, that was a brutal winter blizzard there. That was awesome. Absolutely effective. I'm going to take some of my pistols and target their leader. They have another Demon Smith Sorcerer there. It's a Lore of Hashut. We've got their blunderbusses pinned down. Their Lord just took a face full of pistol fire. They do have a Hobgoblin unit working its way quickly across the battlefield, but it's still a ways off, so I'm gonna just continue to run my sleds mercilessly over these guys. So I felt like that strategy ended up working very effectively here. We were able to get in here and just crush the reinforcements before they could get into a position to effectively resist us. So using our sleds and our magic to huge effect there. Our Frost Maiden got 213 kills, so beyond slay, definitely just slayed. So they always say slay queen, right? Well, there you go. We definitely did some slaying. Alright, I'm going to turn my pistol units to face the oncoming reinforcements, and also turn some of my other units that direction. Alright, so yeah, we're going to turn into the direction of the reinforcements. Let's check my sleds, who are just finishing things up here. This ought to make capturing their settlement exceedingly easy at this point as well. And there we go. Our units are now facing the oncoming Wolf Riders, and they're going to put them down in a big hurry. The Wolf Riders are a large entity. Oh, those are Agla Khan's wolf boys, not just any wolf boys. There we go. But we forced them to rout, and a very successful battle here for us. All right, well, that was an absolute slaughter. And then I can use this replenish ability again, which, again, just going to make sure my troops stay in good fighting position, and our enemies will just have further pressure put on them because of that. It probably would have been okay for me to take the money there as well. I mean, money is never a bad thing when it comes to waging a war in a total war game, so just kind of, I think, up to you at that point. What does Balthasar want? He wants me to join the war against the Disciples of the Mob. Well, hey, I will counter that offer. I will join your war if you join... oh, no, hang on. Accidentally hit the declare war button. That is not what we wish to do. Now we can do the join war. Okay, a trade-off. Help me fight the Greenskins. I help you. No? Okay, well then... Apparently he's not interested in helping, so I'm not going to help him at the moment. If he wants me to help him, he's going to have to pitch in and carry his weight here. Let's see, the Reichland is being attacked by the Shadow Legion, so Be'lakor and his Vanaheimlings are going to be bringing it, so let's enter the war on the side of our ally. We'll try and keep the order tide put together here, though sometimes the Empire does struggle. They get hit with many, many enemies all at the same time. Alright, so we got a Warhorse for Vanilla Ice, which is going to be very useful, and then we should now be in a position to easily capture this settlement. We got the Flame Banner here as well, which is going to give flaming attacks and extra base weapon damage. I don't really know who to put that on. Maybe one of the Kislevite warriors? And then let's go ahead and auto-resolve here, because there's just nothing worth addressing with our full attention there. This is going to have basically wiped out the Chaos Dwarves, but now look what it does. Kind of good, kind of bad. It puts me right on Archaon's back door here, and some of this is territory that we're certainly capable of holding. And speaking of Archaon, he is coming in now to reinforce against... oh, look at this. We got a lot going on right now. So the Skaven are trying to sneak past me. Fortunately for me, they are absolutely stupid, and they did a force march, and they're stuck within my range. And then Boris, he's probably not going to finish this recruiting, which is a little bit frustrating. And then they had an agent action that damaged my buildings here, so... Hang on, that was not just an agent action. It looks like it knocked me down an entire tier. Province secured, war declared, settlement occupied, settlement besieged. Yep, they had a freaking Skaven agent do an earthquake, and that knocked my settlement down an entire tier, so we lost that huge garrison. That is incredibly untimely, because now here's Archaon with the 2 armies, so I'm going to pay back the Skaven immediately, and then I'm going to bring Tsarina Katarin to bear. No pun intended, but I guess maybe it should be a pun intended. Medium casualties, that's hilarious. Yeah, we'll see who's getting medium casualties here. They don't have any mortars. They do have a single Warp Lock Jezzail. They don't have Warp Lightning either, so I'm not really sure where the medium casualties thing is coming from here. This is just going to be nothing but extreme casualties for the Skaven. Especially if I can deal with those Warp Lock Jezzails, which I can, because I now have Little Grom, so let's go have some fun with this. Alright, I've got the battle started. The very first order of business was to have Little Grom target the Warp Lock Jezzails, which possess their longest range at 275. They're pretty dangerous to my sleds. In fact, I am going to watch that range, and I'm going to see if Little Grom can rack up any damage, where you can see that they got a couple of Jezzail shots there. Their Jezzails are going to be very effective against my sleds. Because they can hit us from range, and they can hit us with armor piercing. You can see they already did some pretty good damage to one of the sleds, but Little Grom is going to be fairly effective against the Jezzails, as they are slow and relatively easy target. There's some Deathblood Bombardiers. Yeah, let's let our let's let Little Grom do his work. I'm outside of their Jezzail range here. We're no longer under fire. I can keep an eye there, and let's just see the damage that Grom is able to do. He's already knocked out 4 entities, which is great, because when they die, they take their ammunition with them. Another direct hit from Little Grom, and there goes 3 more entities, so the Jezzails are already being made fairly ineffective. As we kill more of their units here, they'll have less ammo and less ability to impact us. That was a clean miss there, but the Skaven get the idea now, and they're going to start assailing our position. So I'm going to bring my sleds up, and we're going to really be focused over here on these mutant rat ogres. Those Doom Flayers are a little bit annoying, but we'll deal with them all in good time. But the Jezzails are probably going to start to shoot me, which will be frustrating. But with Little Grom continuing to put pressure on them, I feel like we should push forward, and we should start to pick at these mutant rat ogres. And remember, with Tsarina Katarin too, I can do an ice sheet and slow down the advance of their entire bunch of troops here. And that slowing ability will give me quite a bit of control over them. So Little Grom continues to hit the Jezzails. Good hit there, so they are down to only 13 entities, so their ability to quickly destroy my sleds is essentially gone. And we do have one of the mutant rat ogres kind of taking the bait here. Now remember that we have a lot of ice guard now as well, so when the enemy comes into range, it is not going to be a pleasant experience for them in terms of the amount of missile fire headed their direction. I'm going to let my sleds stop momentarily here to put some shots into those mutant rat ogres. Their flayers are heading down one of my flanks, but I do have an ice guard glaive waiting on those flanks now too, and although they'll definitely take some damage from those flayers, they will also be very dangerous to the flayers. And I'm going to pull these units right into the waiting arms of my ice guard. I'm going to slow down those rat ogres again, and then that way they take extra pistol fire. Yep, look at that. The slowing abilities of Kislev are very brutal when used effectively. You can see the Jezzails there, almost a non-factor now. I'm going to actually take these sleds and come over here and hit these flayers. And then I'm going to take Tsarina Katarin, and I'm going to come collapsing right into the middle of this infantry formation. Look at that, we dealt with the rat ogres almost entirely. And let's bring our other two melee heroes out here. So Tsarina Katarin's sled is on the move, and I'm going to come just wrecking through here. Now, she got debuffed a little bit. You can see there, those storm vermin stopped us cold whenever they were braced. So we're going to turn around and keep moving. So she won't be quite as good at smashing through everybody as she was right before the update, but she's still going to be, I think, rather effective here. Alright, so we have got their infantry fixed. The Boydenov's brawlers are right up front too. They've already picked up a lot of kills. Those flayers are getting flayed by my sleds right now. I'm going to actually run into melee with them. And then Tsarina Katarin is kind of stuck at the moment, so I'm going to see if I can get her moving again. Their Master Assassin is also pestering me from back in the back. What happened to my Ice Guard? I don't know why it did that. What is going on with this? There we go. I want my Ice Guard to target the Master Assassin. And I'm going to have Little Grom target them as well. Alright, Tsarina Katarin did her job marvelously. The Master Assassin is now going to come under heavy fire. Let's go get rid of the rest of these infantry, and we are going to score, in my opinion, a very clean victory here. Which is good, because we have big fights on the way. I don't know why it keeps doing that, like moving units around while I'm trying to select. I guess I'm misclicking something. But yeah, Tsarina Katarin's sled remains extremely dangerous despite the... I think basically they just made it a little easier for infantry to be able to stop her because, I mean, she was unstoppable previously, which makes sense. I mean, making a small update to it was, I think, a good idea. Their Master Assassin should have been the target of Little Grom there. Is he dead? I don't know where he's at. I'm going to ungroup this. I'm going to take these sleds off in this direction and try and go hunt down enemy units. You go after the Storm Vermin. You can go after the Globadiers. And then Tsarina Katarin can hit these Storm Vermin here. Okay, we got our sleds on the roll. The sleds are relatively slow movers, but they do good damage. Little Grom here was actually super important. I mean, he wrecked the Jezzails and was able to give me a ranged advantage, which then just puts the Skaven in an awful position. Like, I mean, they don't have a prayer whenever they have to walk, you know, headlong into all that ice magic and the other pain that they're going to absorb there. So we're going to kill as many of these storm vermin as I can, kind of on the way out the door. Jon Snow is the one pursuing them. He does not possess a sled. It's like the Golden Knight doing her thing there too. We've got a storm vermin there. I'm going to direct one of my sleds into that unit. I don't know if we'll be able to catch all these units before they get to the edge of the map. But I want to pursue and destroy as many Skaven as possible because I don't want them to be able to turn back around and attack me over the next couple of turns. So I'm essentially just attempting to inflict egregious losses and hopefully on some of their most expensive and difficult to replace units as well. Not to mention it helps build up the chevronage on my troops, especially killing these nice expensive storm vermin with my light war sleds. That should be a good go-get. Anyway, looks like we have finished the battle, and I'll see you on the campaign map. I don't know how many chevrons Little Grum recruited with. I honestly don't remember, but we got a silver chevron after a single battle, which is fantastic. We're triple chevron on the heavy war sleds. And then our ice guards must have recruited at a high level here because they are already gold, and this one's a triple gold. That's probably the one we had from the beginning. We must have gotten to recruit these units with pretty high chevronage. I'm just going to take the money because I think I can finish replenishing all in this turn end. And I think I'm going to double back as fast as I can in this direction. And we have to hurry and get to Boris. Archaon, he may not be within striking distance yet. We have to hurry and get up there and reinforce Boris. I don't know whether N'Kari is going to back up and try and team up with Archaon, or if he's going to try and blow past me and get into my territory over here. I don't know. I don't think it really matters a whole lot at this point. I would prefer he stay here close where I can take them all down in one shot. But if he goes past me, we might ignore him temporarily and focus on destroying Archaon so that we don't allow him past us, because I think he's certainly the more dangerous of the two, just in the sense that he's not easily cut down with missiles like N'Kari can be, given certain situations. And this Patriarch, I'm looking to see what upgrades he needs the most.
The Ice Queen never fails.
Guess we'll finish Wild-Eyed. Then we've got our Golden Knight. Loyal Guardian gives replenishment rate to the Lord and experience gain rate. That's a pretty good one, and we should be taking advantage of that over time, because the sooner you get that, the better. Gonna rank up faster with Tsarina Katarin. Boris here has his skill tree filled out. Heroic Resilience is a passive. Let's see what that is. So units get stronger as their hit point. I don't like stuff like this where you have to be half dead before it starts working. I just don't understand those type of abilities. I guess it makes your unit a little tougher at the very end, but to me it's kind of annoying that it takes that long to get to that point. Could be handy though. I don't know if we're fighting a really challenging battle leader. Khan King, Motherland Invocation. Oh, speaking of Motherland Invocation, let's do that one.
With this I serve, Kislev.
And let's go in here to the Motherland and let's do the Invocation of Urson here, because I think that will start causing attrition to enemy troops inside Kislevite territory, right? Bitterness of Winter. Yeah, it causes attrition to enemy armies within your territory. Maybe they're immune to it while raiding. I don't know for sure, but at least it means that they're going to start eating that attrition if they're in the wrong stance or in the wrong place, which is definitely good with me. Let's see what's going on down south where the Greenskins broke through. It looks like they were immediately punished by Karazakarak, so I appreciate the timeliness and the strength of Dwarven will there. That was very handy indeed, so now I don't have to worry near as much about what's going to be happening down here. But that was kind of a wake-up call in a way, right? So we should probably be improving our defenses at both of our Sylvanian castles. And then we punish the Chaos Dwarves quite severely. We have still got to wait a turn, and we have the stupid sled replenishment thing going on here the way it is. Let's go in here to Mother Estankia and help upgrade her. We really need more spells with her in order to make sure we get maximum pain from her. So let's go ahead and start building out this lore of hags here. It's a very powerful lore. But I mean, obviously that blizzard was extremely handy there, and I'm glad that we had it. In fact, I'm going to put another point into blizzard so it costs us less to cast it, and we can get it back quicker. Let's do a replenish troop upgrade, and let's put another point into Salyuk's Lullaby. So again, we're going to be overcoming. Yeah, see how quickly we can replenish despite being an unpleasant territory. So that is very important to us. I kind of want to be able to build some Mother Estankia troops for Mother Estankia's army. So I think I'm going to build the Eerie Woods building chain here and replace those Kassars with more Akshina and some Mother Estankia type units. I don't know that we're ever going to be able to get access to the spiders and stuff because of the campaign we're playing. Yeah, we don't have access to the spiders, but we can get things in the woods. which are also quite good. I don't think they're as good as the spiders, but they're good. So we'll make use of that. We have other things that we can get into her army. We do need to finish off what's left of the Chaos Dwarves. I wonder if they would. Yeah, they will take a peace treaty. That's actually kind of temporarily handy for me. I'm gonna offer them that peace treaty. I'm gonna steal all their money as a result, but I'll give them the peace treaty if they hand over their wallet. And you might be wondering why I'm doing that. Well, number one, I don't want to have to bother with going over there, and then look who's on my northern border here now, which is Archaon. And while he's gone, I might be able to cause him some damage, or at least redirect his attention away from Kislev and Prague. So I think that that is a distraction potentially worth taking advantage of. So we will see what happens. Let's go to our Ataman events here. We've got one in Southern Sylvania. Let's go with, I mean, we don't really need either one of these, to be honest. I mean, if one of these was going to come in handy, it would probably be the recruiting, because we don't really have an issue with corruption anymore, so I'll just take the recruiting one, even though I'm not planning on recruiting there anytime soon. Our cash flow is down some, probably because we're being raided, and then also because we've recruited some better troops over the last couple of turns, so not entirely surprising to see our income go down a little bit. I think that over time we have the potential, obviously, to drive it up quite a bit. I'm going to put extra control here to overcome the fact that we're in the unpleasant climates. And let's end our turn here. We should have good growth at Uzkalak, despite the fact that it's unpleasant, because we have the right buildings in that province. And if we could get it built up and defensible, that would be good. If it becomes something that seems like it's going to be really difficult to hold, I may try and hand it over to Katarin and see if they want to hold it for me while I focus elsewhere. N'Kari and Archaon did get together, and they did immediately attack me, and this was my number one concern with them coming in here, which was that they would attack me before Tsarina Katarin could get there, and that they might be able to win. And they very well might. It kind of just depends what happens in this scenario and the way things are set up. Now, fortunately for me, N'Kari's infantry is rather poor. Archaon's infantry is also rather poor, which means we may have a chance. I don't know. Killing N'Kari and Archaon is going to be tough, but let's see what we can do. Give you all a little bit of an overview of the battle before it begins, so you'll know why I've chosen to defend the way I do, and we'll see whether or not it ends up being a good decision. I'm going to choose not to defend the walls, because the AI is deploying in 3 different places, and I don't want to split my forces in 3 directions. Also, part of the reason I'm not defending the walls is because the gates are damaged and even open, and then the reinforcements will come pouring through eventually as well. So I'd have to be split in 3 directions and hope that I can defeat each one soundly, when in fact I have a key building here, which, remember, the key building has to be controlled before you can capture the victory location. All of that is choke pointed, so this is actually a decent design of a siege map by CA, which is saying something, because most of their designs are really quite poor, in my opinion. And that is going to be okay for us here, because it's going to give us a choke point to defend, which it should, and one where we can defend relatively effectively. Now, I picked a target that looked weak to me, which was these infantry over here, which are unsupported by anything fast-moving. And I'm going to try and give them the business with my light war sleds, and essentially destroy all this stuff without them having much impact on the battle, and then my light war sleds can find their way back to the main defensive formation. Now, I won't get the benefits of the towers doing a lot of damage for me, which is unfortunate. But, at the same time, defending those walls, I think, would not work to my favor here. Instead, I'm kind of hoping that the AI will... I don't know exactly how they're going to come rushing in here, but they usually like to capture a whole bunch of checkpoints. This is another situation, too, where I wish that when you're fighting a siege battle like this, there should be a location that their units can return to and be able to fill up with more ammunition. Something that would totally make sense, because you would have an ammunition stockpile, potentially, for a siege. So a few things like that, I think, could make the siege battles a lot more interesting. Map redesigns, for sure, are needed, because the current maps just don't really... they're not fun to play, and I don't feel like that they favor the defender enough. Like, I feel like the AI can basically undo any advantage that you have to begin with. Now, I'm going to be saving my resources, and I'm going to start building towers. Like, that would be a good tower to build. It would shoot enemies in the back. Both of these would, while they were fighting me, and then it would be hard for them to capture that point, because I'm also standing on it. I am causing some pretty tremendous damage here. Look at this, the gate is open, and they're gonna use ladders. I mean, CA please. Little CA please, anybody? We do have the bitterness of winter here as well, which will help us slow down enemies. I'm gonna do as much damage to these units as I can before they climb any ladders. Look at that, they're able to raise their ladders while being run over by a sled. That's an impressive feat. And they finally realized that the gates are open, so I guess these Chaos guys aren't exactly known for their high IQ. It did take them a little longer than it should have to figure that out. Now, N'Kari is quick. He's come in and he's going to start capturing gatehouses and stuff. That's not surprising. I wonder... I'm going to put Boris right out front here, too, to kind of just help put some extra capture power. I might need a little bit of extra capture weight on this point. I don't like getting these units out of line very much, but I might have to just to ensure that we have a certain amount of capture weight on that victory point. I don't want to lose it quickly if I build towers there. Now, I could build towers a little further back. I just don't think they'll be as useful for me in causing damage, but we'll see whether or not I've made a mistake in that calculate. Oh, the Severed Claw. My sleds are stuck on top of the Severed Claw, and they're getting severed, as one would expect, because the Severed Claw are extremely effective against large targets, so bit of a whoopsie on my part there. I don't have any units to heal with either. So I'm going to continue playing with all their aspiring champions and other units over here. They got one unit through already, but the Severed Claw, fortunately for me, is not fast and can't force me to engage them, so I'm going to continue to shoot them up. Here comes N'Kari, and I do have enough to build a tower, so let's go ahead and build that magic tower there. I wish N'Kari would kind of come over and visit. I might come bear bait him with Boris real quick. He's very fast, though, so let's be careful. I do have some potential for slowing him down, but let's go see if we can bear bait N'Kari into attacking early. Severed Claw is just YOLOing me. I didn't know what they would do, but the AI is sometimes very determined in their YOLOing. But we have almost destroyed the Severed Claw. I can save some ammunition and probably crush that other unit in melee. But we definitely have to kill the Severed Claw here. In fact, I might just avoid these guys for the time being. Whip around them and come the other direction. N'Kari did not take any bait. Let's go see. I'm gonna try and give him a little juicier bait here. He is dangerous and powerful, and I'm not sure I would want to one-on-one him because there's some halberds here close. He is not taking any bait. Let's just head back. And let's get my sleds and continue outmaneuvering these units. Alright, so we got a few things going on. Oh, the gatehouse got captured, so I'm not going to be able to... Well, I think I can go through it because it's open. I was going to say I may not be able to re-enter it. We're going to start getting our supplies a lot more slowly because they're capturing some of those points. That's understandable. We do have a Heart of Winter, but it's going to take a ton of magic, and unfortunately for me, there's almost no magic in the reserves, so that is incredibly fortuitous for Archaon. Almost like that the AI needed it really bad, and that's what happened. Gotta love the convenience. Alright, N'Kari is going to come in first. He is berserked a whole bunch of my units. I don't know if that'll really work out in his favor. Some of my bows got caught in it, though. That's frustrating. So he's got a whole bunch of my units going berserk. And he just got another one, too. So I'm going to get in here and shut him down in a hurry and then try and rearrange my forces. That is a little bit unfortunate. How are my sleds doing? Alright, my sleds have wiped out those aspiring champions. Let's go ahead and kill those guys. We used a lot of ammunition, so actually not ideal for me. And all my units are still berserking here. It's a lot of infantry making its way in over here. I'm gonna push some more. Okay, so N'Kari's dead. We're no longer gonna be getting hit by that. Oh, our Frost Maiden got berserked in by N'Kari and almost killed. Man, that would have been an extreme convenience for the AI. Almost too convenient. Alright, the AI is kind of blobbing in over here against our infantry, which actually not ideal. It's actually really non-ideal. I do have a Kislavite warrior there holding him. I gotta get my Frost Maiden back here. Let's actually bring the Kislavite warrior in here as well. So far, not really a great start for me. Not so much at all. I'm gonna bring these sleds up and recapture that point. So yeah, definitely not a good start for me. I'm gonna try and use my bows to start cutting into some of their large units, like the Chaos Spawn. I want to throw my Kislavite warriors in here as well. I want to wear these guys down. Actually, not you, Big Bear. Let's save the bear. He has a Heart of Winter bound to him. I am not going to have enough magic to use Heart of Winter with my Frost Maiden. That is quite unfortunate. We are making good progress against their infantry here, and I pulled back my better infantry. We don't want to lose this capture point either, because I've got towers depending on it. And speaking of towers, let's build another one. So we'll want to keep some weight in that capture box here. So I'm gonna push into this a little bit. Got some aspiring champions there. Let's use Boris. Okay, we're holding, but Archaon's coming in with his full load of reinforcements here. I'm gonna take away some of their capture points, which are helping them fight more effectively. So see, we're gonna capture this. And then I'm gonna come over here and capture this one too. So we're gonna try and recapture some of these points. I don't know if they get bonuses like the player does, but if they do, I don't want that to be a thing. They got an exalted hero over here. I need to target Chaos Spawn with my archers, because they will be vulnerable to archers. And I've got to get over here and stop this guy, which we should now be able to do. Alright, we still got our bear, still got my boyar here. I'm gonna try and reset some of my infantry to be in max protection. We are starting to lose this capture point, so I'm gonna have to actually throw some more forces. We've got to stop this capture potentially. And we're starting to get a good blob, but it's not as big a blob as I want in order to use like the Heart of Winter on this bear yet. Okay, we did stop the decapture there. Our second tower is completed, so now our towers will be firing away, helping us. And what happened to my sleds? They went to sleep. Oh, they got caught on a routing unit. Let's go make that capture. So again, we're going to recapture as many buildings as we can. Oh yeah, that tower did a great job there. We appear to have firm control of the capture point. Boris still has his abilities. I'm holding some units in reserve. We gotta kill the Chaos Spawn. Yeah, I'm holding like some of my Bear Riders and other units in reserve. The hope here being that I'll have plenty of units left to help me out as needed. Yeah, target these new spawn that are coming in. I'm gonna have to bring another infantry unit up in here to back that up. Let's bring Big Bear and Boris over here to hit these Swords of Chaos. Put some pain into them as well. The capture point, I feel like we've got it weighted to the point where the AI is not going to easily be able to capture it. Okay, we got another capture there. Let's go kill these Chaos War Sleds over there. Or sorry, not War Sleds, War Hounds. Fortunately for me, Chaos does not have War Sleds. And let's take a look here. Archaon is just now arriving on station. He's gonna use a bombardment on me, which I need to back up a little right there. Sorry, I hit pause. Let's go ahead and back up out of there. Their leader is back here. I don't love that. Let's send some help over. My Beowulfs are getting absolutely mauled right here. I'm gonna pull them away. They lost almost half their hit points almost on joining that fight, so I'm gonna pull them back and hold them in reserve. I'm gonna go ahead and use one of Boris's active abilities here to chew into the hit points of some of these units. And again, I'm trying to hold units in reserve as best I can. because I'm kind of trying to play safe here. All right, here comes Archaon. And let's see, can we kill that rider? I'm gonna use a Death Frost on Archaon to start to pick away at his hit points. I've got a Bear Rider I can now bring down here as well. It was kind of a reserve unit, and my sleds should be able to start coming back this direction. All right, let's bring in the Bear Riders. Oh my gosh, my big bear is getting absolutely destroyed by Archaon right now. Let's pull it away. It's actually destabilizing because he is beating the stuffing out of it right now. I cannot get the bear to retreat. It just won't move, which this happens a lot with the big bear. It's actually a frustration I have with it. But our Heart of Winter is having an impact. Let's see if we can get the bear off to safety and keep it alive. It's gonna be very important that the bear stays alive here. And then my bear riders are now in here. Boris is going berserk. Again, not an ideal situation, but that Heart of Winter did some good damage. We're maintaining our control of the towers. And at this point, I'm going to bring all my war sleds back. And I'm going to turn on their fire at will and bring them in. And I was going to say bring them to bear, but it's kind of like a joke and also not a joke. I do have Frost Breath abilities here as well that we could potentially be using. Let's try and use some of our other abilities. We are taking a beating in the midst of this. Archaon is incredibly powerful. He is difficult to kill in melee. Let's see what we can do. Oh dang, they got a unit in behind me over here. This Sibilant Slaughtercade. I'm gonna have to send something to deal with it. And let's bring our sleds up behind us. We still have the magic towers firing. We're running short of resources though. And Boris is putting up a valiant effort, but we are up against some rather stiff odds at the moment. I'm gonna go kill the Sibilant Slaughtercade. We did finally lose the capture point, but we did end up getting some good benefit. These two giants are actually extremely concerning to me. Let's see if we can slow those units down. I have extra units here. Let's throw in... Do I have more Death Frost? I do. Let's use it on Archaon. We have got to damage Archaon. And then I'm gonna target this giant. Bilious Thundergruff there. We have destroyed the Sibilant Slaughtercade. I'm gonna take what little missiles remain. No, not you, not you, not you. What are you doing? Get out of there. Get out. Okay, let's turn around. Oh man. They killed Boris. So Archaon is proving extremely difficult to destroy here. So we're gonna lose Boris's army, unfortunately. Fortunately for us, I have caused such extensive damage to his army that I don't think they're going to really get much of a victory out of this. That is frustrating with Archaon. We had him utterly surrounded and it still just didn't benefit us anything. He is just way too tough to kill in melee. Alright, I'm trying to kill Bilious, but he's just got a tremendous number of hit points as well. Let's back up just a little bit here, and let's... I don't know, I'm gonna try and cheese anything I can here. It's not gonna work. I don't have quite enough sled ammo left to kill Bilious. I'm not missing any units either. Yeah, Boris getting killed up in there by Archaon, that was most unfortunate for us, but, I mean, I don't really have a way to stop that, unfortunately. Stupid bilious thunder gruff is wrecking us. They got a mirror guard in there. I'm out of magic, like we just don't have the magic. This is a mess. Unfortunately, it looks like we are out of the fight here. But, I mean, we put up a pretty stiff resistance here. I don't know, maybe I could have done better. If I had something better to focus against Archaon, but, I mean, beating him in melee was pretty much out of the question. I mean, look at him. He's got 122 melee defense. Like, that is just not the ticket, like, to beat him in melee. We really needed more magic. If we had enough Death Frost or other stuff like that, maybe we could have driven him down or like used our sleds to pick at him, but we couldn't even quite get Bilious off the field there. He is still attacking us, but I mean, we put up a tremendous fight here. Not what I wanted, but you know what? Here's the upside. We needed to rebuild Boris's army to one that's more appropriate for him, and so that'll give us the opportunity here. So there we go, a little bit of challenge thrown into the campaign as the Cursed City lives up to its name, and it's going to fall in a massive battle against Chaos, where we were significantly outnumbered. But the biggest problem we had in that battle was just Archaon. We did not have a great way to deal with Archaon in that army. Despite Boris being a very effective anti-large tool, Archaon is a master duelist, and he is just extraordinarily powerful, and then that also depends on whatever items he picks up. If we had had that extra garrison, like, so if the Skaven hadn't used their Earthquake against us, I mean, this was excellent coordination on the part of the Skaven and Chaos, because if they hadn't had that Earthquake, this wouldn't have worked. They would have gotten utterly defeated here, because I would have defended the walls, I would have caused way more damage to him, and maybe I should have defended the walls, but I don't know. I don't think that defending the walls still would have been spectacular, but who knows, maybe my bows would have been able to be more effective or something like that. But Archaon was the one who brought the giants in, and that was really where we had the problem. Or no, he wasn't the one that brought the giants in. They just came in late. I don't know. Perhaps I should have defended the walls. I'm not sure. But either way, it stinks, but it's not the end of the world. And I will see you all on the next episode as we go and get revenge for Papa on behalf of Tsarina Katarin. And then as soon as he is available, we'll get another army, and we'll bring him back in. But again, now that this province, for instance, is secured, I should be able to pretty immediately start getting revenge with Mother Ostankya. It's just that I want to finish this building and get some better troops put together, because clearly we're going to run into some challenge with Archaon. And speaking of challenging Archaon, I do have Tsarina Katarin waiting in the wings here, and I'm going to move her up. In fact, we'll put her into an ambush stance right across the bridge here. And she is going to be waiting to step in. I can't reach these armies, or else I would and just destroy them now before they get any replenishment, but I can't reach them yet. So we'll have to get our revenge here shortly. We could go ahead, though, and start rebuilding Boris's army with just a different lord, and it also gives us a chance to hire that Druzina that we've been wanting to have here. And this leadership when fighting Warriors of Chaos might be good, because we're going to be fighting a lot of them. So let's recruit our Druzina, and we did have a ton of different names available for these guys. I think I'm just gonna go with Ice Cube here, which was another of the names we had. So we've got Ice Cube now, and we're gonna need some supporting characters. I'm thinking army loss. So Boris is gonna be wounded, but I think unfortunately his Frost Maiden is probably dead. Yes, the Slayer Swift was not at a high enough level to avoid being killed, so we'll need to recruit a new character called Slayer Swift. Slayer? Yeah, however we did that. Frostman. We had Ice. I think she was an Ice one, so let's do that. So we'll have to re-recruit there, and we'll just rebuild that character so they can never kill the legend. But in any case, hope you all enjoyed it. HeirofCarthage signing out. I'll see you soon.